the strings louder.
Alright guys, first cold start, 2019. Let's see how, oh geez, poor thing. We're gonna see how this, let's see how cold it is. Yeah, she's happy today. So it was like 10 degrees last night. I feel like it's actually a lot colder today than 24, but this thing's been sitting in the sun, so. Update on the sea of Volkswagens.
They're driving one. Look at it. They're driving one.
Uh-oh.
A Beetle.
Where's it at?
One's moving. Oh, you already passed it.
Alright. So, yesterday you seen my my like 4 degree out, it was like 14 degree out, 6-7 power stroke cold start. I've kind of got a case of the lazies. Yesterday I kind of felt like I was getting sick, and then it was like almost confirmed this morning that I kind of got like not sick, but like sore throat where you kind of feel groggy and you don't want to do anything. Yeah, the holidays is definitely a weird time. But I found, if you guys remember on my live stream the other night, we were talking about doing some cool swap on the Saab, and turns out I found an engine on Craigslist, and so we're running up there to take a look at it. I got Dave. Dave's just cruising with me, and we're gonna go look at that. I thought about priming the Civic, but I've thought about priming that thing for like a week, so.
You've been thought about priming that thing for like 5 years?
I mean, it's been a while, so it'll get some primer eventually. But today we're gonna go look at this just because I don't really feel like, you know, sanding and doing a bunch of other stuff like that, just on account of, you know, I got a case of lazy. So, I guess here we go. So here's the donor car. It was wrecked in the side right here. So hopefully it'll turn out real good. Here's the engine mounts that were in it. You can see mounted over there on the tranny. The exhaust goes down pretty similar, so I'm trying to grab that motor mount right there, and then I think we should be good. Alright, there she is. Freaking 5.3 LS V8 front wheel drive. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've been getting good use out of this truck in the snow lately. But yeah, here she freaking is. 5.3 front wheel drive LS V8. See, it's got the electronic throttle body. This engine supposedly only has like 80-some thousand miles on it. It has the DOD, which is the displacement on demand, which I'll probably end up deleting, throwing like an LS9 cam or something in it. Something that's mild enough, but also good for boost, because you know we got potential ideas in the future. Yeah, you can see basically the exhaust manifolds wind together, and then this actually goes out the back. So I think that won't be too bad. Basically just make like a little block off plate, do a little Y up there, turn it into little Terpskis. Maybe that's you know, eventual plans. I'm not sure. That's some sort of engine mount. I think it just kind of mounted on there like that. But this is a front wheel drive specific bolt pattern. So the crank is a little bit shorter. The bolt pattern is the same bolt pattern as the Saabs, obviously. V6 front wheel drive, 4-cylinder front wheel drive, all the same stuff as like the Cobalt, Ecotex. So the F40 6-speed manual transmission that is in the Saab will bolt directly up to this. It pretty much we'll just need to figure out if it'll even fit in the car. As long as I can get like the alternator and stuff to fit. It does have power steering pump, AC, you know, water pump, all that stuff too. Kind of a complicated looking setup over here, but this is a lot shorter. So yeah, these are, I guess, 243 truck heads with like a soft LS1 valve spring. So I'll probably end up upgrading those, you know, when I do the lead on everything. So yeah, pretty interesting thing. Hopefully you guys are stoked. We'll see how all this kind of comes together. But yeah, I guess that's one of my goals for 2019 is to do something cool, something sweet. You know, I mean, I've always had a huge passion for Saabs. I love them, and I want to do something different. I want to do something unique. If you guys followed me on my live stream the other night, kind of talking about you know, some things I wanted to change with the channel, but one of the other things I want to talk about was this truck. This was one of my goals for like the longest time, since like 2011 when they first came out. And you know, I sat in one with the lariat interior, and I was just like, no way, these things are so freaking nice. And I could just like imagine myself like eventually, like I'd go to the Ford dealership and like make up excuses on like how I like got some settlement or something, and they'd let me test drive it and stuff like that. And I basically like drooled over these freaking trucks forever. So, and it's crazy. So like now I have it. So you know, it took some work, it took some ups and downs, and you know, buying a different one and then selling that one to get this one, and then dealing with all the rolled stuff on this thing to actually get this truck. But you know, it had to make financial sense for me, you know, now as well as later. So this thing is you know, all free and clear, paid off. I could go get a loan on it. It still has clean title, but it's pretty much done other than some paint match stuff. But yeah, I'd like to hear, you know, what some of your guys' goals are for 2019. You know, I have some cool plans, hopefully with projects and stuff like that, but hopefully you guys do too. Freaking LS Saab. We'll see. All right, well, I'll let you guys know when we get back. We'll talk about it some more, get it unloaded.
This almost.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go a little bit taller, just because the bell housing kind of slopes down. But I mean, something like that.
If you mount it like this and then have like a water to air, and it could just go boop, boop.
And then like straight out, do like a little heat exchanger.
Like have one and then.
Yeah, and then have like the V one.
No, you wouldn't have to have the V.
Well, like the dual inlet, so it like goes in and then out at the same side.
Yeah.
Like the 6.7 Power Stroke, just put one of those.
No, that's way too big.
It'd work though. Yeah, so looking at this engine now, you could see it basically Y's. It uses that pipe right there. It goes over the tranny tunnel, and then the exhaust actually goes out the back. But I think mounts for this thing are going to be really, really easy. So looking at this bell housing, it already does look a little bit different than a normal LS. It just looks a little bit smaller. The flywheel looks, or the flex plate looks a little bit smaller too. And so yeah, I don't know. I think one of the only issues is going to be the starter, but we should be able to figure that out, because I think the starter kind of goes like right here, and then it kind of throws down. It's kind of a weird situation, but that one's broken. There's another mount, like a torque mount, that goes above, and then you can see this mount right here. This one's pretty destroyed, but that should be pretty simple too, because it's basically just two bolts right there that bolt straight down. So I could literally just weld like a flat plate on the subframe and bolt it to that. Tranny should basically set it right where it is, where it needs to be, and then even if I had to delete this mount off of the back and just make another one, or weld another piece, that shouldn't be too. And maybe I could just hang a freaking turbo right here. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have it up top. The only other weird thing is this freaking alternator. It's like huge. It sticks up way far in the back. But you can see the power steering is very similar. This is power steering reservoir. This is the power steering line, like the high pressure line, and it goes right here. And this is basically the same spot that the Saab stuff goes in. So the Saab basically should hook up straight to that. AC lines and everything look to be in a similar place. It's interesting though, because the heater core lines, this one right here, basically go up all the way around to the back, and this is how they hook into the heater core. So this is obviously vacuum for your booster, but you know, your typical LS, got your crank position sensor there, cam position sensor should be right there. Again, this is displacement on demand, so I will have to delete that. But I don't know, maybe I should pull out that other subframe and see if it bolts.
I don't know how you're doing that.
Why? All you gotta do is lift up the tent flap.
You have to like the tent flap. You have to undo all those bars and
the tent flap. I don't know. I'm kind of stoked though. I think it'll work. Alright guys, so this is the engine out of my Saab. So if you guys don't remember the Saab videos, I basically bought a 2008 Saab 9.3 sport combi wagon from the auction. It looked like it just had some kind of mild front end damage, maybe like replace the radiator, you know, core support, all that type of stuff. But it turns out it was actually damaged really, really bad, as you can see right here. This is the subframe. You can see how it's all tweaked. Now it's just all tweaked like big time right there, and you can see it broke the transmission mount, like busted the bell housing on the transmission, obviously. So basically what I did is I got on the auto auctions again on the internet, and I ended up finding a flooded car down in Houston, and basically same exact thing, same exact color, except for it was a sedan, and the whole inside of it was all muddy and moldy and gross, you know, obviously because it sat in water. But that actually had 62,000 miles or whatever on the engine, so really low mileage. Front wheel drive, obviously, but these things are a single turbo front wheel drive 6-speed manual V6. So it's a 2.8 liter V6 with a single turbo. It makes around 250 horse and around 280 foot-pounds of torque, and really, really torquey little engine. And you know, I really, really like driving this thing around, or driving these things around like this. And yeah, you could see this is the tiny little turbo that they have on them right there, and it's a twin scroll, so you can see it kind of divides itself, and really tiny exhaust housing, but it has a giant freaking wastegate flap on it. So it builds boost really, really quick down low, and then it just, you know, like most turbo cars nowadays, it kind of falls off up on top. So I am kind of concerned right now looking at this bell housing. It does look a little bit weird. So I don't know. I hope we're dealing with the same thing here. But the goal is going to be to go ahead and pull this transmission off of this engine, and then try to mount it to this one. Obviously, I know there's going to be an issue with the starter. This starter right here is what actually goes on them. You can see that right there, and see how it actually sits down. And that's supposed to sit basically right here on the tranny, and it kind of shoots down supposedly, or kind of forward, or maybe it sits in there and it shoots back or something. Whereas this starter right here, it actually goes right there. It actually goes into the transmission. So I think I'm going to end up having to cut off a piece of this bell housing and then, you know, do something like that. But this transmission still might be good. I still might be able to use it. But kind of the plans is to just get everything mocked up, not in this subframe, obviously. I have another car that I could use to mock up, you know, all the engine mounts and stuff, but you can see the tranny will be mounted right here, as well as in the front, so that should give me as well as in the back as well. So it should give me easy placement for basically making the engine mounts on the front over here. You could also see there is a place to mount it up here. This is one of the main mounts for it, and I could probably make something like that work over here too, as long as I have enough space. So we're just trying to mock up some stuff, seeing if this thing is even possible, and yeah, I'm stoked to see what we can do with this. Alright guys, get freaking stoked for me, just check this out. Sorry, I'm using the gimbal and it's making it kind of weird. But look at that. So you can see it is using 2 bolts right there. It's missing these top 2 bolts on that end. But this one right there, that's actually like kind of like one of those big dowel pins, and it just needs the actual, like, I believe the block tapped. It's where I could actually put a bolt in there. And then on the back side of sorry, I'm a little bit nasally. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a cold, but yeah, let's see if this thing will. Alright, you can see there's a bolt right here. That's holding it together. Now I need to look at the drive shaft, or the little center shaft thing, and see what that looks like going from side to side. And then I don't know, it looks like the bottom of the oil pan, I'm not sure if any of those will actually do anything as far as like bolting up. But I mean, it's got 3 bolts in it and 2 oversized dowel pins, so that's pretty much as good as you're gonna get. But yeah, it's interesting that it actually, I don't know, I mean, I read a whole bunch of stuff online and I was getting pretty scared for a little while, assuming that it actually wasn't going to work. So I'm stoked that it actually did. The only other thing is I need to double check and make sure that the clutch and everything works and bolts up. But yeah, see that dowel pin right there? That dowel pin? That's basically the size of those other ones that bolt in. So I guess we need to see if the clutch and everything bolts up and lines up, which it honestly looks like it does. The nice thing is this, since this transmission was broken, I mean, I guess it's not nice, but it kind of works. Helps us out a little bit. Let's see. You can see in there, looks like it's about lined up, so that's good. And that looks about how I guess it would in the other tranny, because the little pilot bushing or whatever is actually in the dual mass flywheel. So we'll have to figure out a good clutch to put behind this thing. But I mean, I'm thinking she's looking promising. So I don't know. Guess I'll have to kind of let me know what you think of this adventure. Again, another one of the future plans is, if this ends up working, I would like to throw a turbo on it, and then I would like to get the all-wheel drive setup out of like my girlfriend Jamie's car. It is it's an all-wheel drive, but it's an automatic. But they do make the turbo V6 6-speed manual with an all-wheel drive variant in a wagon. So if I could get a hold of one of those, like wrecked at the auction or something, I could swap everything over into my wagon and make it an all-wheel drive. So imagine that. So you have a single turbo 5.3 V8 6-speed manual all-wheel drive wagon. That, I don't know, I mean, that just sounds freaking cool to me. So again, sorry about my nose, nasally and all that type of stuff. I would try vlogging. There we go. Yeah. So oh wow, yeah, this gimbal's just doing a bunch of weird stuff. Apologize. There we go. So yeah, I guess that's probably gonna be it for this video. Let me know, really let me know, because I'm kind of stoked on what this freaking thing looks like. And you know, now that it's actually bolted, I mean, it doesn't look that cool, but it's crazy how big it is, but how simple it is compared to that V6. That V6 just has so much stuff going on it all over the place, with the turbo and the lines and the, you know, the secondary air pump, and I mean, it's just, everything is so packed and tight, and I really love this engine. I mean, I've never had any issues with mine, other than throwing like a coil pack. Threw coil pack in it and it was just fine. Same with Jamie's. Hers has been really good as well. So yeah, I guess I don't know what else to say. I want to do some more stuff, but I'm gonna go pick up the baby and probably go home and relax a little bit, try to get a little bit of rest. But yeah, this technically should work. So I think what I might do is, obviously I still am planning on working on I still am planning on working on the Civic and getting this bad boy painted. Sorry, I'm trying to get this freaking gimbal. It's weird, but yeah, get it painted and kind of knock it out. But you know, I think that this little fabrication, little project, I think this will be a lot of fun, and I hope it will freaking work. I mean, I'm probably gonna make it work no matter what. But again, we shouldn't have any issues with the axles, because the transmission is the transmission out of the car technically. Again, it will have a mount in the front, because I will take apart my car and use the transmission out of it. I will have a mount in the back, as well as, I guess that's it. But again, this right here has these 2 bolts that basically go straight down, and that will be right up here in this corner of it. So I think technically what I could do, obviously it won't be bent, as I could almost just weld a flat plate and literally just stick it in there, drill some holes, and just weld it on to this, and that should be my mount for this side. Before I go, I just had to throw the front cover on it. But this thing is literally going to make 303 horsepower and 323 torque, not wheel torque, but 323 torque. So that's already going to have, you know, as I said, there's no replacement for displacement. It's already going to make more power than that, have more torque, and you know, you guys have seen what people could do with these junkyard 5.3s. Since this is a later model, I don't know if it's technically like a Gen 4, if it has like the better pistons and rods and stuff in it. But I easily think if we could get this thing all-wheel drive swapped, we should be able to put down a solid, super reliable, like 600 horse to the freaking wheels. The only issue then, I think, is going to be finding a clutch. Man, that's freaking hilarious. I don't know. I've been thinking about this for a long time, probably about a year, and then I finally was just, you know, kind of getting fed up with myself and the Civic and like doing things that I've already done before, and I'm like, I want to do something cool, you know, like I want to do something that I want to do, you know, and hopefully you guys are stoked about it, and here we go.